Let's talk about your jobs. Berufe. Professions. And first, a couple of questions you could be asked, or you might want to ask somebody else. And I've given you them each time in the formal you, so with the Sie, and the informal you with du. So it's your choice depending on who you're talking to. Sind Sie berufstätig? Or bist du berufstätig? Do you have a job? Or people might just say, arbeiten Sie? Or arbeitest du? Do you work? They could say, was sind Sie von Beruf? Literally, what do you do by profession? Was machen Sie beruflich? And informally, was bist du von Beruf? Was machst du beruflich? We've got the male bit at the top again, so I guess you can work out that the next slide will have female written there. So, most important bit is, if you've noticed, I've just written ich bin and then a couple of choices of jobs. Whereas in English, you would have said, I am a tree surgeon, I am a hairdresser, I'm a journalist, I'm a waiter. Well, in German, we don't. In German, we say, I am tree surgeon, or I am hairdresser. So we do not need to translate the A. We do not need to say, ich bin ein, or later on, eine. So, ich bin Baumchirurg. That means I am a tree surgeon, which also means that if you were a surgeon, you would say, ich bin Chirurg. Ich bin Friseur, a hairdresser, ich bin Journalist, well, as a journalist. Ich bin Kellner, a waiter, Lehrer, a teacher, manager, I don't know what that could be. Same word as in English. Maurer, a bricklayer, Musiker, a musician, Tischler, a carpenter, Verkäufer, a shop assistant. And that is what a man would say. Now looking at the same jobs for the woman, did you notice something? We've added the IN again. So, ich bin Baumchirurgin, ich bin Friseurin, ich bin Journalistin, ich bin Kellnerin, ich bin Lehrerin, ich bin Managerin, ich bin Maurerin, ich bin Musikerin, ich bin Tischlerin, ich bin Verkäuferin. So same as for the male version, but with an IN. That is what happens with almost all the jobs. Just like we did with the nationalities, the majority have the IN, but we also have a couple of exceptions. A slight exception here is we're adding an umlaut. So a male doctor would say, ich bin Arzt, but a woman would say, ich bin Ärztin. A cook, ich bin Koch, und ich bin Köchin. Now, in English, I've written there a cook and a chef. Now, chef, if somebody said, ich bin Chef, actually, they wouldn't say that. They might say, ich bin der Chef, because that actually means I'm the boss. So if you're a cook or a chef, you would say, ich bin Koch or Köchin, and not Chef. Because the boss is der Chef, and if the boss is a woman, it's die Chefin. And some other exceptions, an employee, ein Angestellter, and the woman is Angestellte. Now that's the same as Deutscher and Deutsche, if you remember. And then we've got a few with Mann und Frau, just like in English with the husband and housewife, Hausmann and Hausfrau. But a male bank clerk is ein Bankkaufmann, and a female bank clerk is a Bankkauffrau. Feuerwehrmann, Feuerwehrfrau. if they work as firemen and firewomen. Krankenpfleger und Krankenpflegerin, which is a nurse, but we also do have the word Krankenschwester, like the sister who looks after the ill people, but we don't have a Krankenbruder. So that's Krankenpfleger. Now, obviously, I cannot add all the jobs in one video. Actually, I couldn't add all the jobs in hundreds of videos, I think. This is just a basic list of jobs. I've noticed over the years that job descriptions are getting more and more complicated, and rarely is somebody just a teacher. So if your job in English isn't that easy to explain, it probably wouldn't be that easy to explain in German either. But if you do want to know what it is in German, and I most likely haven't mentioned it, get in contact, and together I'm pretty sure we can find some translation of what your job might be in German. Some more questions. Wo arbeiten Sie? Or wo arbeitest du? Where do you work? Now that could mean what town, like where do you live? So you could have said, ich arbeite in Berlin. But it's probably more the question of which company do you work for? And in German that would be bei. So ich arbeite bei BMW, ich arbeite bei Walmart, or Walmart, or depending on, so ich arbeite bei Sainsbury's, ich arbeite bei Edeka. Seit wann arbeiten Sie dort? Oder seit wann arbeitest du dort? Seit einem Jahr, seit 2 Jahren. So if you've been there for more than a year, the plural for Jahr is Jahre, but because we've got seit in front of it, we need to add another N. So seit 2 Jahren, seit 3 Jahren. If you've only been there for a few months, then it would have been seit 2 Monaten. You may also be asked, not as a follow-up question, as the first question, arbeiten Sie oder studieren Sie? Or arbeitest du oder studierst du? So do you work or study? Possible answers then just could be ich arbeite or ich studiere. You may also have to say ich bin arbeitslos. Arbeit is work, los is less, so workless or unemployed. And if you're retired and you're a man, ich bin Rentner. And if you're a woman, ich bin Rentnerin. So in your workbook, prepare yourself to tell people what you do. Do it like a mini presentation, because then you've got all your information in there. I've given you 2 examples talking about me. Ich bin seit 17 Jahren Deutschlehrerin. And then I've added the name of the company, which sounds a bit silly because I'm self-employed. But if I wasn't self-employed and I'm working for Angelika's German Tuition and Translation, I would say ich bin seit 17 Jahren Deutschlehrerin bei Angelika's German Tuition and Translation. But as I'm actually self-employed, my sentence would be, ich arbeite seit 17 Jahren als selbstständige Deutschlehrerin. And that's your turn now. Wo arbeiten Sie? Was sind Sie vom Beruf? If you're struggling with turning these into sentences, let me know and we sort it together.